We are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Microwave Extravaganza podcast, the only podcast proud to be sponsored by Dolezal Hair and Nails and Tanning. Remember, Dolezal, who would know better? We're also sponsored to you in part by PETA Dog Rescue. Remember, if you want that dog off the streets and you don't care what happens to it afterward, hire PETA. People for the ethical treatment of animals. Really ethical. PETA. Because fuck you. Thank you very much. How you doing, Donnie?
Oh, pretty good.
Yeah. Do you kind of get the joke of PETA, though?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know this. PETA regularly shoots their dogs. It's
that's how they ouch.
Yeah, you see, the thing is, their solution to the problem of dog overpopulation is a what we call an easy solution. You know, they're so ethical that they buy lead in bulk. Did you know that?
I knew at one point there was a scandal about the way how they dealt with, having too many animals, and they couldn't get anyone to
adopt them.
But I didn't know I didn't know they shot them. I thought they euthanized them with some kind of nerve poison or something like that.
Oh no, they straight up gangsted. They went like NWA on their asses.
Oh, yeah. Well, hey, but I mean that's the thing with that when you have too many animals, that's what we do. We cull them. So,
well, but I'm saying it brings so much irony, especially since there are a lot of other no-kill dog shelters that don't shoot them that actually have better rates of adoption than PETA does. It actually help the problem. So help solve the problem more. So they could do more. They just choose not to. But anyway, so today the episode today is called "Fuck Marvel." Because sponsors. I'm sure Disney wants to sponsor us now, huh?
I gotta admit, I've been I was talking to a friend today about how it's like, yeah, Disney's doing the big gobble up. It's the media wars are showing, and Disney's starting to gobble shit up.
Yeah, but the reason why it's called "Fuck Marvel" is because I did you get my petition?
What was it?
It was for the Archdiocese of Milwaukee. That's just the name, but I don't know why they named it that. The Archdiocese was only one of a few different people that I actually wanted to get the message about this. But it was Disney that was supposed to be it. But whatever. It's the Archdiocese of Milwaukee to boycott to stop Marvel by boycotting it. It's something like that. It's on change.org.
Oh.
See, it was about how the Archdiocese, no, not it was the Archdiocese, was about how Marvel is still hiring that weasel, Jack Morrissey, James Morrissey, the one who said, kids go in the wood chipper hat first. You know that thing?
Oh, okay.
Kids.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah. So did you actually sign that petition?
No, I didn't.
Well, hey,
I don't think I clicked on it or something. I don't know.
Well, hey, when you get the chance to, could you actually sign it and then maybe even promote it on your channel?
Sure. Okay, so. Okay, well, I'll take a look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be okay with it. But it says, boycott Marvel, Viacom, and anywhere Kathy Griffin is. So basically, it's basically say any company that hires Benjamin Hoffman, who has the alter ego of Wheeler Walker Jr., you know, the one that said that he would give away albums for free to anybody who punched those kids in the face. And we all know what Kathy Griffin did.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. I would. Okay. Okay, because the change.org things, I like what I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the hell they're for. I honestly,
they're a petition site.
Yeah, and so I mean, I don't know what they're for. You know, it's I mean, you know, I've seen it. I saw it come into existence. You know, I don't know what it does really.
They just
but I would
create petitions and then they send them to the people who are relevant once they get to a certain level.
Yeah, I would say that it's what works with the Catholics is you shame them. And you point out this is what Disney is really about. And this is what they're teaching your children. You know, like if these people if these people understand what you believe, if they would make movies that you can believe in and you can support that are not heretical and not blasphemous, you know, go for it. But if you want to commit heresy and blasphemy, like side with fucking old Walt and his bunch of fucking perverts and bigots. Oh, and you just
who's Walt?
Oh, Walt Disney.
Oh, wait, perverts and bigots. I know he hated the Jews, but I mean,
oh well, no, I mean, because the issue you're talking about is that there's what is it? There's the guy, the Marvel guy, who made all sorts of weird jokes over and over again about children, and people are like,
the guy who got fired.
Yeah, well, you remember he got rehired. He was never fired, actually. He was never fired. That's what everyone found out over the last week.
Fuck him.
Oh, so, yeah. No. This is Disney's a lost cause. It's really that Catholics don't have a problem. Catholics just won't make a decision.
So what do you mean they won't make the decision? Like, are they not ashamed?
They just have to. It's just a matter of the community itself has to look at itself and say, are we going to have nothing to do with the products of this firm? Because these people are against our existential. They're against our existence, and they've made it very clear.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And, I mean, no petition will really have. Well, go on.
Is it that one guy who said that he saw a monkey ejaculate onto a child and he thought it was hilarious?
Oh, yeah, that weirdo. It turns out they never fired him. They just told people that they fired him or something. And he's going to make that next movie. He's going to make Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh!
And that to me, this is why I honestly think that there's sort of a strange irony going on here, is that I like the fact that Vox Day has started his own comics thing. Other people are trying to start up their own comics companies, but a big thing I actually have thought about for a while is a long time ago in American history when people were reading comics, they said that this is a gateway to perversion and all these other things. And so suddenly comics had to be rated. And there's this part of my mind thinking about how we were countenanced against movies, television. We were countenanced against things like comic books and various diversions and entertainment consuming our lives. And now we have to do everything we possibly can to convince people this that is showing you horrible stuff, that's made up of horrible people, blah, blah, blah. You got to stop watching it. You got to stop letting these people into your mind. And that this is now like the challenge of a generation.
You know what? You know what? I hate weak people. I hate when weak people get into power, like Bernie Sanders. And I see a lot of the alt-right as being very weak. Because when you look at a lot of their solutions, it really seems like they gave up. They're very much black-pilled. So my solution is red pill and fight back.
Well, always accept that. I mean, and this comes with really a bit of time, and that it's hard to tell somebody that because that doesn't help them. But what I could tell you is accept the weakness of humans, like it because at some point everyone gets sick and they're amazed at how sick they get, and they're like, wow, that's what it feels like to get really ill or to get really injured.
Yeah, I had that where I had horrible diarrhea for like 2 weeks, and it was just like on the toilet, couldn't eat anything, constant bloating and gas, couldn't barely move, cried a lot because it literally felt like my stomach was going to explode.
Yeah. I mean, like dysentery. That's like almost that's probably the level of dysentery, and so that's like that kills people. That kills most.
Well, it was a stomach flu. Well, it was a stomach flu, and after it did, I did manage to fight it off.
And so it's like that kind of thing of once accepting a certain amount of weakness of humans, then it's a thing of what are they saying they need? And then can you provide that which makes them feel so that they're really not strong, like you have given them motivation, but really that you have alleviated the fear that they have from being weak. Like that's why a lot of stuff like to what we were talking about before, I didn't realize this until I heard older songs and they had a different mood to them. And I was like, I feel really good when I hear this, but the song's really sad. And it was because it's from a different time when people were closer to that understanding of weakness and fear. And in the recent times, we think we're beyond weakness and fear because we become Gnostic. We've embraced occultism, and we think we're Apollo, and that we are just gods who can overcome fear with the proper motivational phrases.
The proper like gurus who tell you how you should get confidence from within, kind of thing.
Boom. Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, guru culture. Therapy culture is one that Matt Forney talks about, and you'll see a lot of times, oh yeah, this form of therapy was adapted from the teachings of Guru blah 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 blah, and you're like, oh my god.
After a while, you're just like, fuck off.
But also, you'll find this too. Any of your listeners who are in various Christian communities, they will find sort of these weird ways of distorting sort of theological language. They'll have a like abundance theology, I think, is one that's right now menacing the Protestants. Another is it's like positive thinking. That actually was a Christian movement, the positive thinking movement. And if you had positive thoughts, or you tried to push the negative thoughts out of your head and had positive thoughts, positive things would come to you. And that comes back every so many years, that
power of positive thinking.
Totally. And there's some recent, like somebody wrote a whole book on this recently. That's a bunch of people use where they think about receiving money and there's money, and there's whole
Wait. I know what you're talking about. That's called the law of attraction.
There's that. Yeah. Boom. There's another version of it. Yes. Isn't it interesting when we want to talk about the gospel or the doctrine, you go, you mean Christian doctrine, right? And I go, yes. And we know exactly what we're talking about. But as soon as we're talking about any of this goofy occult psychological bullshit, we find that there's 5 books on it, all by different names. This has come back over like 150 years. And
Hey, Donovan. But that's why I bought this book for you, and why I think it's a good book. That I have the audiobook version on my phone, but the 48 Laws of Power.
Oh yeah, I was actually going to when I was looking for calendars, I had the 100 Deadly Skills calendar or the 48 Laws of Power calendar to choose from. I'm like, wait, Arceon said he might get me the book. So just no. Get the 100 Deadly Skills one. I bet it's hilarious. And I could tell your listeners, 100 Deadly Skills, the book and the calendar are awesome.
It's legit. They show you how to build a homemade taser, how to keep people from coming into your hotel room, how to copy a key, how to steal a fucking airplane.
That's the best. My buddy saw that and he goes, "Why does it say how to steal an airplane?" And I'm like, "Hey, you never know."
You might have to get the fuck out of Dodge, and you can't save up the money for a plane of your own.
Wait a second. That makes me think of, did you ever, when you were younger, see the A-Team?
No, I've heard.
Okay, mental note. I'm just going to note that because you'll laugh your ass off when you see it. So I'll send you a particularly funny clip. But back to the perverts at Marvel.
What the hell was that in the background?
Oh, I was moving my chair around. I was sitting.
I thought it was a kid that just got in there. Donovan. I have like one of your 120 kids that you never met.
I have this like weird old folding chair that's made out of steel and stuff, so it makes hella noise. But yeah, like
you were just like that. You were just that you were just an alpha.
No, I'm wondering, like with Disney, China is trying to is China already heavily invested in Disney and Viacom, or is it still a relatively American firm? I'm trying to remember.
I should really find out, but I do know this. Walt Disney was a part of DMLA, which is a youth version of the Freemasons.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay.
And he also was part of the OTO, Order of the Temple of the East, and it was huge into like a lot of Masonic symboly. But what did you mean by the perverts of like that? Like, was Walt Disney known to be like that himself? Because I mean, the Disney Corporation has been around for a long time, but I mean, if Disney himself.
Oh no! I just ever since that movie Frost came out and what people were as I saw some reviews of Frost where people were like that
Frozen?
wasn't it what?
Frozen?
There we go, Frozen. There we go. Thank you. Oh yeah, the video game is Frost. Yes, the Fallout Frost. Frozen. That Frozen people were talking about this weird relationship that the sisters have, and like the way the story winds up. That I'm like, what the fuck? And then all the weird love affairs that all these characters have, like the love interest and stuff. That after a while, even though it's kind of the formula, it's the way that these stories run. It's gotten more and more just that they're obviously kind of into this general idea, like most of society, of sexualizing the young, or or not cleverly enough masking what they want to be for the adults to understand, and then fundamentally Disney owning Marvel and Marvel Comics having all these weirdos now ruining comics and making all the characters androgynes, that, I mean, it's just bullshit. They're perverts. They're just fucking weirdos.
What the fuck? Why did my screen turn off? Oh, there we go. I'm back.
All right.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, I should do a full-on investigation into everyone who's a director there and just see everything that they've ever done. And then I need to go to some of my churches. I talked to my friend who is a past Grand Knight of the Knights of Columbus, and we're trying to talk like every time we go to like a meeting about that. But here's the thing: like I need to actually go to the church itself.
Yeah.
I need to ask that I be allowed to speak.
And also, remember,
even if I can't, I'll just stand outside and just ask people, anyone who will listen.
Well, no. Always reach out. So this is one of the things that and this is another. This was lost on my generation too. A lot of older people actually know shit that they desperately want to tell other people. At a certain point, you have no idea who would ever have the interest. So there's stuff people will know that they're like, I think other people should probably know this, but you would have to have a context for even applying the information. And so sometimes if you reach out to somebody who you want to talk to, that you get you get some kind of response, because sometimes these are people who nobody will be interested, and you're just talking to the wrong people, you know, but like looking into the background of a lot of entertainers and stuff like that, it could be handy, you know, but I mean, it's mostly just presented on its face. A lot of people have already done a lot of the analysis work and the footwork, like Jay Dyer, the Orthodox guy. He's looked into a lot of stuff with Hollywood. And it's just that will Catholics actually, like, what you start doing probably is getting in touch with blogs and podcasts to actually ask them, because they're interactive in the community. Like, what do people tell you about the movies? You know, what do they say? Like, is this starting to do? Has this
Do you think I should call Jay? Do you think I should contact Jay Dyer himself? I
Oh,
know
definitely.
I know Orthodox and Catholics debate each other a lot, but I'm sure he can agree with me that we should have a boycott, right?
Well, that's yeah, and it might be good that because he knows so much about Hollywood, he would actually probably be able to at least give you an idea of like, okay, if you know, here are solid theological violations that are in various movies that are extremely popular, and that really, like, Catholics do need to make some type of decision about if they're going to give people like this their money. And that then, you know, he could probably give you a place to start, that you can, you know, that you could start from there, you know, that because you're right, you could have lots of different disagreements, but what you could point to as theological evidence of this or that or the other thing, you know, is you know, that's a place to start. And that
don't be afraid. If one thing I'm afraid of is that Avengers Endgame is going to come out, and that thing is going to be kind of like the crown jewel of Marvel. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a lot of people to boycott it in time. But you know what? I'm sure Marvel won't stop there with their movies, especially if they're trucking along and making a whole lot of money. So my thing is that if we just say any kind of Disney property, you know, and just keep railing against them, eventually something will happen, right?
Well, there's also this. Now, I would say one of the my big thing I'm watching, because I don't watch Disney movies, but I know they're buying Fox, and so now, or they bought Fox. So now my whole thing is, what are they going to do about Tucker?
Tucker Carlson?
Yeah, because he's the big money maker on
Fox News. They bought Fox News.
Oh yeah,
or Fox or 20th Century.
They bought Fox News, from what I know.
Oh, and fuck!
I didn't know you did. I thought that's why you brought up the whole Disney Marvel thing, because of that.
I didn't know that they bought them. I know that they bought a whole bunch of other stuff, Lucasfilms.
Yeah, it's so I mean so remember, a lot people haven't been going to the theaters. So there's money being lost, and nobody sees it. Nobody sees the money is being lost until you have the conglomerates conglomerate even more, because they can and they have to.
And they don't have the money to sustain themselves alone.
Yeah. They're like, I'll sell you the whole shop. You know, I'm better off selling out now, which tells you a lot.
So that's why Disney's gobbling.
Yeah. And
they're black hole collapsing in on itself.
What?
Is it kind of like a star that's about to become a black hole collapsing in on itself?
Well, we have nothing ever to compare this to. I mean, they are operating, and I had to think about this recently, that Disney sort of sells people a form of dream-like experience, like nobody else, like nothing that has ever been. It is the pure, unadulterated experience of the secret of the temple. It's they can create anything. You see monsters and spirits, talking fish, talking cars, all, they can hand you Thor. I mean, just it like nothing we've ever seen. And what becomes of it, I just is unimaginable.
I know. Well, hey, do you think I should call my local church and like ask if I can be allowed to speak?
Yeah, I mean that's actually the best place to always start. That's why the church is there and it's a local one, because that's you want their support. You're telling them, you're telling the rest of the flock, I sense danger. Do you understand? Are you with me in this? Do you also see this too?
Well,
You know,
we definitely need to have some more teeth in what we do.
and that will come with the people who know what to do, because they've been waiting for this moment. They've been there. Like there might be that old person who's there at the 7 a.m. mass, and knows all the old gesticulations and everything, and they've been waiting forever. I used to work for Walt. He is the devil. Who knows?
Walt Disney, why do you think he dressed me up as a mouse? He raped me over and over and over.
Actually,
Minnie was forced to watch. Minnie was forced to watch as Walt Disney raped me over and over.
Disney World was supposed to be, Disney World was actually supposed to be a giant Western town. It was supposed to be the pinnacle of Americana.
Really?
That was the original plan. And then a young designer at the end of a meeting with all these different design firms, this man named James Warland said, "Hey, Walt, have you ever thought of sci-fi?" And that's pretty much the one story my family has of very strange and big fame.
That is really fucking weird. And wait, didn't Six Flags become that Americana?
I know. I gotta admit, if I remember right, it was based a lot around stuff more like westerns and that kind of in settler stuff. But it's been so long since I only went there once ever.
In Illinois?
Oh, no. And I went to the one in California.
Six Flags?
Oh yeah, because we had, I'm sorry, and now I'm getting confused. Six Flags was a totally different deal for us.
That's a Warner Brothers property.
Yeah, and actually I went to that Great America is what they call that. So I guess, yeah. Yes, Six Flags Great America. Yes. Yeah. I guess around that. Yes, indeed.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, and Warner Brothers. Yeah, Yosemite Sam. There's a lot of Yosemite Sam imagery I remember. Yeah.
I miss what America could have been. Weren't we kind of the pioneer country?
Oh yeah. The settlement of the Midwest is really one of the more amazing stories of humans altering a landscape. I mean, at a rate that just, was astonishing. And how the land shaped the people thereafter is something that, like, really major scientists, like all the big brain nibbas who are listening to our conversations all the time,
Niggers?
they are very fascinated. Very fascinated with the Midwest and how people are adapting in the Midwest to especially a situation like this going on now with all the snow.
Oh, and the opioid crisis.
And then, Yeah, bingo. That took a long time to happen there. Took a long time.
Because we were so like pioneer and go like rough and toe kind of people.
Well, nobody would shoot, you know, the idea of like shooting up, like that was very, very not fabulous. There was never a time where shooting up like looked hot or anything. Like snorting a line, there were definitely scenes in movies and TV shows that people would make it look really cool. Like, look at me, I just snorted up a bunch of cocaine, you know, but like,
but shooting up heroin was never like, oh come on, and Roxy, don't you want to be cool like us?
yeah, totally. Like we have a lighter and we have well, Roxy, do you have a spoon? Because we have a bunch of syringes, you know, and it's just like tar opium. I mean, just there's nothing cool.
Just no, Roxy, come on. Candace, I don't want to use it.
You know, nothing about that looks like, you know, hot and sexy, you know. And so it had to be pills. It had to come in the form of pills, you know, and that's what that and that part of the country, you know, you get isolated indoors for a long time. You know, there's a lot of hard labor work that injures you. You know, the life is it's always been a rugged life in the Midwest, and
that's why
having a little.
That's kind of I think where I get my taste in music.
Yeah, no. Actually, I gotta admit, I have started thinking about there is something about that Northern Europeans, what we got in America, what we would hear from them in the 90s, there would be all the dance music, but they would be like, oh yeah, but they're really into metal. We're like, what? Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. And people would talk about Northern European metal like it was some like it got up and took and killed somebody on stage or something. I mean, like it was like they would talk about it like it was this unbelievable, legendary, like you won't believe what the fuck you're seeing kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'll buy it. I don't know how to find out or not because what band would I ever be able to look up in the 90s when we still had CDs, you know? But I mean, but that was the thing is I was like, and people said it's because of the temperature. It's because of the long nights, the rugged lifestyle, you know, you got lots of sun during one season and lots of cold during the other. And, you know, it said it just suits the mood. And I was like, okay.
Plus, you also had to deal with the extreme cold. And really had to like, you know, I remember everyone has their I walked this many miles in January story.
I would imagine, and yeah,
I saw like a 12-year-old just like walking back to his house and his face was like all red and like, you know, he looks like he was suffering. He's saying like, no, I just forgot to get on the bus. Don't worry about it. Like I'm like, oh. Fucking hardcore, you know. This guy, it's just a 12-year-old kid that missed the bus walking home, and he walks like 3 miles, and he didn't even bother to call his parents. He's just like, "No, I got this."
Yeah.
Oh, that's I mean, it's so industrial too. If you look at like a lot of industry is done in Wisconsin. A lot of it is, you know, it's a pretty Rust Belt state where, you know, the comments and look of a Wisconsinite is like this guy's like around fire all the time because, you know, he works like as in like a steel mill, you know, like, and I mean like a foundry. I'm not talking like, you know, like he's a welder. I mean like he pours hot molten steel into shit, and then he drives home in his pickup and like through like the icy snow, and, you know, he's got to like break all the wood with his fucking hands. You know, that's us.
And I would say, like, to bring it back around, like there is no representation in entertainment of something that reaches into like that immediate culture of like winter Wisconsin anymore. Like I mean, now it's all these fantasies about I'm a suburban woman selling weed, or I'm a suburban school teacher selling meth, or you know, I'm a demented person who kills people, but I'm actually killing people for a good reason. Like, I know these are all shows that have recently
Dexter
existed.
is one of them. Dexter is like the serial killer who kills other serial killers.
There we go. And so it's like there's all these things I'm like, none of this, like, so this is so unlike when I was growing up and there would be the old reruns of shows that were working class shows. All these people were supposed to be mechanics, burger flippers, waitresses.
Wasn't it like Family Matters, one of them?
Um,
You know, like the guy was the main dad was like a cop. So
oh, the black cop. Oh,
yeah.
that one was, I remember. Yeah, that, I mean, that, like, the ones that really, like, the older ones would be like Alice, Rhoda, the Archie Bunker, All in the Family. That was a great one.
Roseanne.
Roseanne actually was the 80s version of those shows. And my dad actually said, you do understand this is the last show that will ever be like this. They will never show the real America again. And I was like, wow. And that was a long time ago. My dad died a long time ago, but he knew what was up.
How old was he when he died?
Oh, 20.
What?
Yeah.
20
Yeah. Mom died when I was 17.
Oh, when you were 20. When you were 20.
Yeah.
I thought he was 20. I'm like, what the fuck?
No. He was about 52, I believe, at the time. Yeah.
Sorry to hear that, man.
And you know, and it's one of those things of, that's why I live the lifestyle I live, so that I don't die, like, have, you know, hopefully that I just sort of conk out my sleep, hopefully at some point.
Well, what was his lifestyle?
Oh, just a very normal boomer, smoked too many cigarettes, and liked having few too many cocktails, after work, and I mean, he was very disciplined. He was an extremely disciplined man, actually, and but he liked his dry sherry, and he liked his menthol cigarettes, and that cost, sent him to an early grave. Hard work and industrial poison.
So wait, he was a working class.
Yeah. He did bookkeeping and data entry.
Oh, nice. My whole family, except for my father, is working class. My dad grew up working class, but as an adult, he wasn't that way. He's the only one. He went back to college at 29 and became a mechanical engineer.
Oh, nice. Right on.
Yeah, but he's a hard working motherfucker. See, sorry, I just had to burp. But that's the thing about my family, is that my dad came from a family of 8 kids, and he's the only one who actually went to a full 4-year college. One of my aunts is one of the only people who actually went to a 2-year college, and everybody else either went to a mill or got some kind of trade school thing. Yeah, like they either worked at a mill back in don't want to say the town for my own safety and for my family safety, or they ended up working at some kind of trade, like welding or fabricating or something like that, or like or like furniture design or like carpentry, some stuff like that.
Okay.
I didn't know if you had anything to say.
Oh, no. Yeah, just following.
Yeah, so that was that's a lot of people here. But yeah, we should definitely get back to the whole Christian values thing, because when you look at a lot of these people in my state, especially, that's kind of that's the reason why I think so many of us have Jesus, is because we're most of our day is like sweating it out and working really, really hard and aggressively, Um, uh, yeah, and I'll say this: I did kind of work up what I would kind of live what I would consider kind of working class, because even though my dad was like a mechanical engineer, he was divorced, and my mom was a part-time accountant. So I think I kind of grew up smack dab in the middle. You know what I mean?
Those are both pretty much as normal, very normal American jobs.
No, those are pretty. Well, my dad's is pretty white collar, but the whole time, like my mom, even though hers is technically white collar, his office work. The way I kind of grew up was like there was very little luxury. I never had to worry about being fed, but like vacations were kind of a non-existent thing. I mean, very, very normal.
I got it.
Small house, one story kind of thing,
Yeah, that's an incredibly normal life. For actual general, in fact, doing some type of bookkeeping or something part-time is even something that is not unheard of back into the late 1800s.
Really?
Oh yeah, we've been told a lot of stories about women's employment opportunities, and it just isn't exactly so. Women have had to work some type of part-time job. It's just that they did it, and there was so many people around who were willing to watch the kids for a little while, help with the kids. The siblings looked after each other. It was a lot of like home economics, businesses that might be run right out of the house, like doing somebody's laundry. Hairdressing. Hairdressing is actually one. It had to be regulated into salons. Stuff like that. There's like to this day, like hairdressing in the Black community is often started out of the home, and that they have to frequently lobby cities to allow them to do hair in their own home for money.
Oh, that's so stupid that they have to overregulate something so small like that,
Well, it's that kind of thing that when we were talking about drinking earlier, it just comes in waves. That there will be a period of time that Americans are like, okay, why are we still doing this? In all these cities, there's still this law, but we got a new technology. We don't need to do it this old-fashioned way. And so that's been kind of, yeah, and the technological productivity, basically the rise in productivity by having a more ingenious way of doing something, and that regulation sometimes just happens to be in the way, and people never thought of it, and it's just getting the government to remove the regulation, and that's always the hard part.
Yeah, because once you put a law in, they rarely ever take it out.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing. Like, it's interesting you mentioned that. There's something called the lump of labor fallacy, where people believe that because new technology comes around, that it puts people out of work and that they can't find something else. In reality, what it is that what the type of labor demand will change. So you'll still have plenty of people who can work and want to work. It's just that the type of work that they'll be doing will change. It's only hampered when you have government interference.
And I mean, and it's like right now, right now, the big thing in the Northwest is was that they kind of helped deregulate or alter regulations so that everybody could have these things, food carts. It's the new big business, food carts. And that people would, instead of having a restaurant, you just have a food cart. And that the food carts would have all kinds of zany ideas for food. And that they would put a bunch of those food carts all in the same area. It'd be kind of like the food cart place, the food cart area, and of course, like for a place like Eugene, they put it near one of the breweries. So it's like kind of perfect. You get smashed, at the various bars in the neighborhood. You go to the food carts, and you eat a lot. You talk with your friends, and then and get smashed some more, and and pass out. You know,
If I'm
it's the
gonna-
life of so many.
if I'm gonna get drunk, I'm gonna eat a lot of food first, so it doesn't hurt me as much.
And then there's that. You know, it might be that you pregame at the food cart, and then and then go and get go get schnockered.
Yeah, well, I don't really like getting smashed on. I hate beer. I hate beer. Like I get that some people will get used to after a while, but I'm like, okay, but if you watch a baby still get clubbed in the head 500 times, eventually you're not going to have as much of a problem with it. I don't know about you, man. I mean, like, are you a fan of beer?
I was quite the fan of beer. I typically like red, malty beer, stout, bourbon barrel, half. Let's see, Hefeweizen. And then oh shoot. And sometimes what they'll call a blonde. I love how now that I'm rolling these off, I'm like, oh my God, you were such a lush in those days. And so I don't drink anymore because I have thoroughly drank my fill, I believe, for my lifetime.
So, well, you don't really like it, do you, anymore?
Oh, actually, in fact, just talking about beer right now makes me wish I had a keg and a pint glass. That's why I have to stay away from it.
Because do you have a problem with beer? Like, is it like something you get too deep into?
It's just when it's a novelty, when it's like, oh, I haven't had 2 or 3 pints in a while, because that's my mentality. That's not the mentality you're supposed to have.
Oh boy.
I'm like, because
I'm
now
gonna call it. You do have a problem. I'm gonna call it right now.
Now, keep in mind that the music I was showing you earlier, like that was my scene.
Oh yeah.
Like 2 or 3 pints at a show like that would, oh my God, I would just live for those nights. So, you know, well, yeah, it was, but I like beer.
Donovan, you're so manly. Will you be my new dad?
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, like it says in the, like that whole scene, like it said in there's a movie called World of Skinhead, and I like the way this one band leader of a band that was a big band in the day, and he said that a skinhead is a man who is very lost, and that was the line. I was like, God damn it, dude, you totally get it. And it was hard. It was a hard thing to be like, yes, that is how I feel. And so much about the years in Catholic school, like all the ideas of lost. You are lost in the wilderness, you know, the lost sheep, all of it, the son, the prodigal son, all of it was, I'm like, oh gosh, this just keeps coming back. And yeah.
Hey,
like you
talk about the churches though, especially with trying to get like people to boycott Marvel.
And yeah. I would figure that the organization, the Knights, that's actually a very good way of approaching it as a long campaign that doesn't have to be loud. That's the most important one. Remember, Disney needs your money. And that's the thing you say to them. They need us. We have God. And so at some point there's something so essential about the relationship that somebody has to concede. You know, yes, there's something very wrong with the fact that we just don't question our children consuming this company's material.
Well, plus when you really think about it, it's entertainment. And the entertainment quality has already gone down significantly. The whole Captain Marvel thing, Solo, whole bunch of other movies that Disney has been putting out that people are like, bitch, please, you know, and so when it comes to convincing people, it's not like, you know, boycotting a food product, because in particular food products might be diverse enough where people would have to cut out an entire type of food out of their diets and might not even be able to buy a competitor because they won't be able to find it for a decent price, and people need food. But when it comes to entertainment, that's where you don't want to fuck up, because people can always go on the internet and find something better. So it'll be way easier to get people to boycott Disney than it would be for probably any other product.
Now, also, this is then also a kind of a tough part, but this is really where I would say you can start that business you want to start.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if there was a Christian Steam.
A what?
A Christian Steam.
Like Steam, like the game seller?
Yeah. You know, that you know, the games would probably be rather cute and pedestrian, lots of Kirby-esque kinds of stuff, you know. Probably a lot of games that would be even a little, you know, what was Moses' brother's name? You know,
oh, no,
you know that, you know,
cringe. Oh.
You know, there, you know, that's you would just be managing, you know, with the other people who manage it, and that what, you know, the income from advertising would be with them doing. Wait,
you're cutting out. You were cutting out for a second. You were cutting out, Donovan.
Oh, okay. So, you know, most of. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Okay. I would say, you know, most of what you'll be managing is the stuff that is like the you know, whoever your sponsors or advertising that you would have on their click-throughs to Amazon stores of, say, Christian websites that have said we want to advertise on your you know, platform, and that, you know, you would have games that are designed by people, you know, you would know what they're doing. They would, you know, tell you, you know, it would be like Steam, you know, but it would be games that for specifically that community. You would have basically my issue is that or what I'm getting at is, at some point you could engage in now the entertainment that you would want to see, because you have some pretty big ideas about what you think would be a good piece of entertainment for young Christians. You still have an understanding of what entertains you, and you're in that community and in it and neck deep in it. And so that's really one of the things, that there's probably not enough people that can say to one another, I think this is cool, you know, to another Christian. You know, like, I think this is cool. You know, do you think other people think this is cool? Because, I mean, nobody says that anymore. Nobody's like, Jesus is freaking cool, dude. You know, like nobody, you know, it's like, like cool. You know, it's like, you know, there's of almost any group, you know, who's always the arch villains? Somebody who is either dressed as a priest, is very similarly like a priest, or dressed as a priest. You know, it's always some kind of allusion to the Catholic Church, you know, and so that's always a super villain. It's never some disordered, you know, bunch of, you know, layabouts somewhere who are like, well, you know, we were shooting up heroin and then we like decided to like launch our death army on you, and, you know, we had to, you know. It's always some guy who's dressed up like the Pope who's like, now release the death army, you know. And, you know, so it's just, there's got to be an alternative form of entertainment that
well, hey, dude, I thought about creating the first pro-Christian horror movie.
It could be done like that one. What was it? There was that one that I guess was adapted from a comic with Keanu in it.
Keanu?
Yeah.
That was wait,
I want to say Palantine. That's not right.
Constantine.
Yes, there we go. That there was, I thought, like, that whole thing of him talking to a soul in hell. Like, I was like, that is a very great way of doing that. Of that was fantastically well written. Like, yeah, I like that was one in particular. I was like, this has a lot of really good ideas about how the other side is forbidden for the mortal man to understand. But there's some people that it's almost like a blessing and a curse that that's what he is. That's his role, is to fight and to be able, and that he has to traverse onto the other side, and what he's doing might damn his soul, but he must do it to fight evil. And like that's I like that kind of, I mean, that's what it's about. Like, that's what it's all about. Like, I get, like, in that way I get like the kind of rock that you like, when it's that epic, it's the epic moral conundrum that it's like, this decides my fate forever, and I don't necessarily have full control of it, but I've got to do what is right and also right for me, and that tears at a person. And so I get that kind of thing. I just want to see it in like a big freaking movie form that just is unfreaking forgettable.
Well, that's what I was thinking, dude. I was actually thinking about this, and I actually want to create this as a real film. I want to create a film called God's Finger. And the name is supposed to be kind of ironic because God is something that's so hard to comprehend that, that calling it God's Finger is supposed to kind of play to the arrogance of the main character and how stupid he is and how self-absorbed and arrogant he is. But the idea of the film would be kind of to do a cosmic horror version of, God.
Like, how do you mean?
Like, how we talked about Lovecraftian horror, the feeling of dread, like of existential dread.
Yeah.
So the idea will be that it would be kind of like, once the like apparently like we'll be in the a future time at the beginning of the movie where everybody has, their technology and all these great things, and oh my god, I have multiple wives that I can pull out of my closets, that are like, they're like those real girl dolls, except they look like a real human being, that all have sex with me and do whatever, and everyone's got their technology, but nobody talks to each other. Everybody's about instant gratification, and everyone's eyes are very, very droopy. Everyone walks really, really weird, like they have no energy. Everybody's either fat or skinny as a rail, but nobody's athletic. Anyway, so that would be the opening, and then eventually, like a lackey for NASA will do some kind of bad thing. I'm not sure what exactly we should have him do, but it will be some kind of blasphemous thing, and it'll end up getting him going on the rocket. And when he's in space, the rocket is hit by some kind of lightning bolt out in the middle of space. Everyone in there dies. And then the rapture starts. Then the apocalypse starts on Earth. But where our story will continue on will be that the arrogant lackey will have to see all of God's wrath, and we'll have to see this Lovecraftian horror where like there's so many moving parts, to this omniscient being, and where God is essentially trying to get him to choose to be a good person. He's giving him choices. And if he doesn't choose to be a good person, he'll end up being damned to hell forever. But he gets to go through. But it'll be kind of like a moral teaching of personal responsibility. But the whole point of it will be that God is the Abrahamic God is this almighty, all-knowing, all-powerful creature who is so. It's even said in the Bible that when a human looks upon God. And though, like anyone who has ever sinned in their life cannot look upon God without their eyes burning. The idea will be that God is so powerful that if you're so arrogant to piss him off, his wrath will be something that will make you cry and weep and go insane. You know what I mean? It'd be kind of like a sci-fi fantasy kind of film. But where the whole point of it is that, a guy is literally seeing the cosmic horror that is God's wrath, but also God's beauty. You know, we're like, we talked about cosmic horror, that it's kind of the idea of, of horror based on the idea that besides the monsters and besides the effects, it's mostly about the idea that we are, or H.P. Lovecraft says it the best. I'll spell the quote. Hold on. But it's kind of about the idea that we're kind of insignificant in the universe, and that we're very, very small and fragile and able to be easily destroyed. You get kind of what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think? Oh, there you are. There's I didn't screen share. Let me just hold on. Sorry about that. Yeah. So what do you think so far?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got to get writing. That's.
Hey, there you are. Look at that. Look, there you are.
Oh, what was that one about? Was the the anti-phobia hate thing? That was one where I actually, because I was like, ooh, wait, is this one gonna get me in trouble? And I actually had to look at it again, because I was like, hope maybe I might have said something that'll get me in trouble. Yeah, so
Oh, wait, okay, so So this is just to give people an idea of what we're talking about.
Have you ever found yourself looking up at the night sky, staring at the countless stars sprinkled over the black emptiness of space? As you kept looking, its vastness grew, and
here's the H.P. Lovecraft quote.
Left with. The most merciful thing in the world, I think, is the inability of the human mind to correlate all its contents. We live on a placid island of ignorance in the midst of black seas of infinity, and it was not meant that we should voyage far. The sciences, each straining in its own direction, have hitherto harmed us little, but someday the piecing together of the associated knowledge will open up such terrifying vistas of reality, and of our frightful position therein, that we shall either go mad from the revelation, or flee from the deadly light into the peace and safety of a new dark age. Imagine trying to portray the emotions in the previous passage on the film. Existential dread is an emotion that is difficult to explain. It's a feeling that we rarely experience in comparison to happiness, fear, or anger. On top of its rarity, not everyone can verbalize it or express it in a way that others can understand it. It is often misunderstood or interpreted as something else. Therein lies the hard task of representing those emotions on film, and making the audience share those feelings as well. The emotions born of cosmic horror are similar to the genre's monsters. Abstract, not fully formed, hard to harness, hard to describe. It's difficult to show the introspection of a character coming to terms with the fragility of their own humanity. This type of inner monologue is usually best explored in literature, but an intimate inwards realization can be done without having the character say anything. Like in the scene in Annihilation, where the main character is face to face with a being that is emulating her. She slowly begins to understand it, without the use of dialogue. Sometimes the best thing to do is to let the visuals speak for themselves. If showing a monster can handicap your movie, so can explaining it. So it was It's like assigning a shape to something that doesn't have any. It's all about balance. Some movies might get the visuals right, but they lack a cohesive or poignant story, and are missing a sense of foreboding or dread. In other cases, the setting is perfect, the mood is just right, but the effects are laughable and far from frightening. If you want to explore cosmic horror but don't have a big budget, the Bird Box's example is one to replicate. Don't show the creatures and let people's imaginations do the work. If you're lucky enough to have a bigger budget and have a lot of creativity, practical effects like those in The Thing or The Void can do the trick. Just don't forget the second and equally important half of the equation when creating the story. Good cosmic horror balances the external aesthetic of a sci-fi movie, but with the internal feel of an existential film. People are so hung up with the aesthetics, the tentacles, and the monster that they fail to explore the bigger questions, because that's even more complex. They themselves don't understand it. Not enough movies go into the abstract of the themes. They stay at the surface level with the visuals, and it's completely understandable. What is the limit of our humanity? What happens when we go beyond it? If something is hard to think about, then it's hard to verbalize. And if it's hard to verbalize, then it's near impossible to show. Thank you for taking the time.
So now you're gonna get what I mean, right?
Oh, well, yeah. I remember this.
Yeah. But I just thought that video, guys. You guys gotta subscribe to this channel, Screened, because goddamn, that is a good video. It just so perfectly summarizes cosmic horror as a whole, doesn't it?
Oh, I mean, I never heard it even described like until now, until I saw that.
I know, but now it kind of makes sense. So now you kind of get what I mean when I say cosmic horror, like you know, like do you get what I mean when I say like I want to make people kind of afraid of the infinite wrath that God can have?
Well, yeah. I mean, that would be the. I mean, a cosmic horror would be definitely a way of doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I plan on like having the character go through dimensions of hell, but instead of like having it like be the 7 that we all know from like Dante's Inferno, it would be like an unlimited amount, and just go around creatures that would be super bizarre and hard to understand and scary. You don't even know what their motivations are, other than they're a creature in hell, so they probably aren't going to offer you a taco, you know.
I remember, there was one the Spawn, the comic, in one of the early like first 5 or something, they show what it's like when souls end up waking up in hell, and it's totally like that. There's just bizarre things all over the place that hurt them in all kinds of strange ways for the rest of eternity. And it's like, it was just really fascinating, like the way that this person, the artist, was so good, and so they're really disturbing.
Yeah, but I mean that would be kind of the point. But okay, a little spoiler. This was probably going to make you go like, "Whoa, I didn't think of that." But at the end, like this is actually and by the way, this music that he's using is so ingenious because it's not like it's like terrifying, but at the same time, it's not terrifying in a way where like it's like in your face loud. It's more like just it builds up, but
your budget and have a lot of creativity. Practical effects like those.
I would actually use this song. Like, let's see where it is. I know he has it here somewhere. Towards the end of the film. Let's see. Wait. Hold on. There's no. It's music. The Old Ones by Scott Buckley. 1 second. So that's a song I'd be using at the end, but at the end, Donovan, the way I'd have the movie end is that the main character that we see finally, after 10 years of going through nothing but hell, he is brought to heaven. By the way, are you still there?
Uh-huh.
And when he's brought to heaven, his final punishment isn't to be tortured by some kind of alien creature in hell anymore. It's to be forced to stare at the true form of God. And when he does that, like this is how it will sound like, like you'll hear him saying some creepy line about, "Now I shall show you how stupid and ignorant you are. How dare you insult the father of your father of all fathers before you, and more so. For I am all these things and none at once. And you should never, ever, ever speak down unto the greatest thing that has ever come, that has ever graced this earth ever again. Never, ever speak ill of me. Yeah, and witness how insignificant you are. Witness my true form. Witness me. Witness the insignificance that you are. And then I just have this song playing. And by the way to do it best would be that God is kind of covered up by some clouds, and the clouds start to slowly go away, and you get tiny hints and ideas of some form of the shape, but you never actually see hardly any of it. And then they cut away, and it's like an outer space. It's like some kind of like cloud in the middle. It like some kind of like astral cloud in the middle of a bunch of stars. And then and then all of a sudden you just hear this. And then right when you hear you heard that drop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right when that drop happens, I'll have a few seconds of quiet, and then have the character, It's implied that when the quietness happens, that's when he sees God's true form. I'll have like the actor just go into a studio and show like the longest blood curdling scream you've ever heard in your life, as loud as possible too, to the point where it might actually hurt your ears in the theater. And then just have it be nonstop, like for like 2 minutes straight of just a background of moving stars in our atmosphere, in our universe, just going across the screen as you hear this guy continue to like scream at the top of his lungs out of fear. And as it's happening, I'll have it be at first fear and then slowly transition as he continues to scream into kind of a screaming whimper, and then into like crying and moaning and continuing to scream, and and then have the movie end where like halfway, like we're like for the first half of the end credits scene, you're just watching the credits roll on the screen while the screaming continues. And then it just goes, to like dead silence. What do you think?
Up until he got to God, you had something rolling there.
What do you mean?
Oh, as soon as he saw God, that's where the whole thing started to fall apart. That was a pretty nutty God.
What do you mean?
Insane.
What do you mean?
All stories end with redemption. It's either damnation or redemption, and that was real weird.
Well, why would it be weird at the end? It's kind of his just desserts, where he sees, he like the whole point of it is that he's kind of like insulting and rude to Christians, and the idea is that because God is infinitely beautiful, and the human mind could not comprehend even his true form, his punishment is to be shown just how small, like how much of an ant he is compared to God.
Yeah, I don't understand. Yeah, I don't get it.
You don't get it?
No, I don't get the idea at all.
Have you heard the story? I don't remember what story it was exactly, but there was a story of a guy who supposedly witnessed God. And this is in the Bible itself, where he talks about like seeing God's true form, but because he was a sinner, his soul all felt insignificant and gross, and his eyes lit on fire, and he could barely stand to look at him. You know,
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's in there.
well, I mean, that's kind of the whole idea behind this, that witnessing God would drive you insane.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get that. It's just, I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, that would make if I were a nihilist who painted my nails black,
Whoa, you're cutting out.
that would
Wait,
be dank as hell.
you're cutting out. Sorry.
If I were expecting there to be redemption of the soul at the end, that wouldn't be.
God damn it, you cut out again. Sorry.
If the person's soul has to be redeemed or not, I think
that he would have like give redemption.
Yeah, like that's I mean, because that's the ultimate power.
Oh yeah, but there have been several times in the movie
Only God can redeem.
where he was offered redemption, but he rejected it. That's kind of the idea, that he gets damned because he was given the opportunity to redeem himself so often that now it's clear he was never going to change.
See, now that I could get the idea of if you were to try to make a movie where it was sort of the cosmic horror of
Slow down. So you're
being in some form of.
Okay, try. Okay, go ahead. No.
Yeah.
No. Sorry.
Kind of.
Oh God, I'm gonna stop screen sharing. Maybe that's. Can I? Just barely.
Okay. I mean, it's just I would think. Can you hear me?
Oh, now I can.
Okay. I'd figure that the whole deal would be that at some point, either he's redeemed or damned, and I kind of get a movie about damnation in the present atmosphere of Hollywood. A movie that shows cosmic horror and the person turns toward redemption, like Jacob's Ladder. That's one that freaking creeped me out. That was one of the last movies I put myself through. And oh yeah, you've never seen that one?
I don't know. Who was it directed by?
Oh, I don't know any of that shit. All I know is that it was a freaky ass movie. It was about a guy who had supposedly been put through an experiment called the Ladder, and it was a chemical that was injected into
a guy who had what?
A guy who had gone through an experiment called the Ladder, and the Ladder was a chemical injected into him and his unit in Vietnam. And the idea is that he is this veteran working at the post office, and he keeps having hallucinations. And that when he explores the origin of these hallucinations, he in some way, shape, or form finds out about this thing called the Ladder. And it's from it's complicated, but the whole thing is that it's a cosmic horror in that he keeps waking up in different realities. One where he's married, another where his wife has died, a reality where, or maybe his daughter died and his wife left him. He'll remember Vietnam. He'll be in a mental hospital at certain times.
That does
all these people freaking out and bashing themselves walls and stuff, and it's a freaky ass movie. But at the end, he realizes that he is actually in between heaven and earth, and he doesn't realize what's happening, and he has to seek redemption, and it just is a matter of how he can do it.
So he has the opportunity to go to heaven or hell, but he's dead.
Yes, and he's fundamentally somewhere in between is what you're loosely given the idea of.
So he's in purgatory.
Yes, and that's the idea, is that he thinks he's alive. He thinks he's just living his life after Vietnam.
Oh wow! He thinks he's just hallucinating.
And yeah, and it's just that he wakes up and he's like, I had the weirdest dream that, oh my gosh, like I was dating that woman who I work with, blah blah blah, or something like that, and I don't know where you were, and this and that was different, and then later he's with his girlfriend, the woman who he worked at the post office with because his wife had left him. Their child had died years ago, and you know, and it's just it's super weird. It's a freaky ass movie, and there's demons that keep appearing, but he can't figure out what he's seeing when he sees them, and they look really normal. Like they look like everything is very normal except for one feature that is so distorted, and you're like, oh, and then it's gone, and you're like, that was fucking creepy, and that's one of the first cosmic horror movies that I know of that I saw that really got to me, that to this day still is stuck in there.
Oh yeah. Well, I'd say my first cosmic horror movie that really freaked me out. What was it? What was the name? Shit. Hold on. The Matrix doesn't count. That's not a cosmic horror movie. That's a sci-fi movie. But what was it? It was some. Oh shit! Hold on. I think it was The Mist. The Stephen King movie.
Okay.
But
I only know of it. I didn't see it.
Yeah, but it was good though. What it was is that it was kind of the idea that that like scientists were trying to open a portal to another dimension for the military. You know, a little dumb sounding, but there were creatures that just made no sense whatsoever that all of a sudden started attacking the small town after the mist comes in, and in the mist are all these creatures from the other dimension, and they would just pour out, and nobody could even see half of what they were, and some of them that you did see looked just freaky as fuck, you know, and you didn't know why they were doing what they were doing. They were just eating things. They were just eating people and like, you know, tying them up like in like spider webs and shit.
Yeah.
It was pretty unsettling. You know, I didn't eat for like 2 days just because I couldn't. It was just so gross sometimes too. That's one of the movies that really made me feel like, you know. But yeah, I'll look that up. Jacob's Ladder, right?
Yeah.
That's yeah. But what do you think of that though? Like the idea of cosmic horror being used as a stage to show God's wrath.
I mean, I get it. I mean, it's definitely a way of doing so. Yeah.
Yeah. The ending you're kind of iffy on.
Well, yeah, because I mean, it's, you know, you know, like it's kind of like, who is this guy? You would have to develop who the guy is and why he falls rather than is redeemed, you know, and you know, that is what I think.
I'll explain that he's kind of an arrogant asshole who's looking for instant gratification and takes advantage of people and lies all the time. And so when the apocalypse actually does come, it comes when he's in space. Apparently, like it's not as hard to get into space at this time because this will be a few thousand years into the future. And the entire idea is that, you know, this is like, you know, like they say that in the Bible that when we know like an X amount about the world, that's when Jesus will come back, and that's when the apocalypse will start. So this is kind of like in a future where everybody has all this great technology, but everyone's kind of essentially lost their soul. You know, nobody really listens to music anymore. Nobody really cares about being honest. People steal all the time. People are fat and overweight. People have tons of unprotected sex, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he's in space, and he dies, you know, after a lightning bolt, which, yes, is God's lightning bolt, hits him and kills everyone in the and the craft. And so, sorry about that. And so that's when he's being put through hell. But he has all these doorways, and they require some kind of sacrifice of himself. So in one of them, he's given his flesh back, and he's told, cut your arm off, and you can ascend to the eternal kingdom of heaven. Your arm will take 5 years to grow back. Yeah. Or go down this hallway. It will lead you to more rooms in hell. The creatures might actually not be able to get to you if you go down this room, but there's no guarantee of anything. You might live, you might be attacked. But one of them requires that you cut your arm off. You know, stuff like that. Essentially, he has to make either a sacrifice of himself in some way, shape, or form, like, you know, like facing something he didn't want to face for the longest time, or cutting his arm off, or something like that. He's given this choice. Let's say I'm going to try to have him do it about 18 times throughout the movie, and every single time he chooses to take the easy way out. Donovan?
Okay.
No, I mean,
I mean, it's just right, edit.
Yeah, but I mean, do you think that kind of makes the ending make a little more sense?
I suppose. I mean, you know, it's
just confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It might make more sense to just watch it than to have someone else explain it, right?
Well, and that's you know, that's how stories and movies are, yeah.
You know, show don't tell, right?
And yeah, that is kind of the thing. Is, I mean, it's like it's always hard to imagine it. You know, it's in the same, and also a story starts to write itself once it starts to be written. That's the other something I've actually had to think about once I was attempting to do something like that. That I was like, oh, okay, got to be prepared for that.
When are you going to make a Teespring store? When are you going to make that Teespring store where you sell those shirts for the large-chested woman that says "Big Kitties"?
I gotta admit, you know, that's when you remind me of that, I was like, oh shit, I totally forgot that was a great idea. I have no artistic. I swear when it comes to I once as a kid started to show some bit of interest in drawing, but it never panned out. I just didn't want to. There were certain things I just couldn't seem to see and replicate on paper at all. And I was like, that's so frustrating. And I was like, and then every once in a while I'd kind of get it right. But I was like, yeah, this isn't so interesting to me that I want to do this all the time, though.
What about like if you looked at some videos online that could help you? Because as long as you create a good design one time, even if you have to erase a bunch of times, as long as you just take your time to make it one good shirt, you know, then you're golden.
I know, totally. I gotta admit that soon I was hoping when I get this computer, probably in a month or so, that it comes with the Windows package, and so there will be something I'll be able to mess around with in that vein. I'll be able to draw a little something, or and like, okay, let's see how difficult it is, because I was like, no, I've got to walk through Windows again at some point, because it's been so long since I've been using an Android based thing for quite a bit of time, before that a Mac. And so I was like, okay, no, I've got to mess with Windows 10 now that it's kind of standard.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, remember that video that I showed you last time from Mr. Reagan about the
yeah. That's become a big deal.
Yeah.
He got interviewed all over the place.
Yeah, Vincent James interviewed him on the Red Elephants, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guess what? He made a second part 2 video. And so what part 2 seems to say is that maybe it was actually Zach Exley that's the head. And not that Indian looking guy who looks kind of like an Indian version of Daniel Radcliffe.
Okay.
You know the guy who played Harry Potter?
Yeah. I'm yeah. So okay, so that's all right.
Yeah, it's interesting, but he says that Cenk Uygur was just a mouthpiece.
Okay.
Yeah, which, let's be honest, do you think Cenk could really organize anything in a political campaign effectively without losing his mind?
Oh no. That's not his. That's just not his talent set. No, I mean yeah. He's a different kind of. He does what he does.
Yeah, he's almost he doesn't want to admit it, but he is a lot like Alex Jones. Yeah, just gets so worked up when people don't want to believe him.
I gotta admit, it's the sweaty quality, and the fact that he works himself up literally into a sweat. That's the part about it that gets me about them both, and the fact their bodies tend toward roundness, and so yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh wait. I gotta show you something absolutely hilarious. Where is it? Here it is.
Let me explain to you.
Well, you're gonna laugh so hard.
The left's all, compassion. Right. We can't hurt anyone's feelings. That's the big Chinese. You are on 5G. Fire today. No, the big 5G. You're on fire. No, Joe, the 5G. You're on fire. Monday to keep it legal. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded. In that treat.
You see that?
That was great.
Oh my god! Just one more time.
It's only audio, so you know.
You're on fire.
So what?
Shit.
Only audio?
Yeah.
God damn! I keep forgetting to screen share. What's wrong with you, Austin? What the hell's wrong with your ass? What's wrong with you?
The left's all, compassion. Right. We can't hurt anyone's feelings. That's the big Chinese. You are on 5G. Fire today. No, the big 5G. You're on fire. No, Joe, the 5G. You're on fire. Monday to keep it legal. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded. In that perfect treat.
That was great.
Absolutely great. Just one more time.
Retarded. In that you're perfect.
You see that, man?
Oh yeah.
Oh, are you feeling okay?
Yeah.
You're just really chill right now, huh?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. That was. I mean, it's Jones is Jones is a trip.
Yeah, I know, right? I love the way he just so casually says, "All right, Joe, I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of retarded." It was like so casually, like it was like nothing at all. Just saying, Joe Rogan. I'm kind of retarded, and then Joe just rolling over. It's like he can't take it. It's just too funny.
I did like the whole thing about him being like the 5G, Joe. No, really, the 5G. That was that. I dug that. That was good.
Yeah. Just. Oh wait. Oh, that was so great. Oh wait. What was? So you know what? Let's get into some funnier stuff right now, because this podcast, I have to admit, today's episode has been pretty serious, huh?
Oh yeah. I mean, we're talking about the possible perversion of the youth via Disney's freako effect on society, making everybody weird as hell.
It's like, what the fuck is going on? So I will show you a little bit of Boris. Play it. just to get the good feelings going for the laughs and the whatnots is. Listen.
You've seen Spinal Tap, right?
No.
Really?
No.
Oh man, and you like hard rock, and you funny. Oh my god, how have people hidden from you?
I don't know. Oh no, I will spank myself for being such a bad boy.
So Spinal Tap is basically the movie about a joke band that it's supposed to be the big goofy movie about a heavy metal band.
Wait, hold on.
And they just nail it in its own way.
Hey, you're gonna love this.
Hey, Boris, cook something. But what do you cook? I guess it's not too late. Oh, look at the time. Shit, might as well. I will not cook plov in 40s already. Let's see. No, later. I choose... Давай, let's go. Make it plov very easy. Let me show you. Yes, Boris. Left, check. Appetite. Very nice check. You see, the best plov comes when you make it when you're hungry. And also, the more hungry you are, the more you make. At 12 o'clock, everything is allowed. You see, plov is the ideal dorm room student meal. Why? Because it only takes one pot to make. Блять, it's too big. Yes, I will check.
Oh, so what is the name of the movie, comrade?
Spinal Tap. There'll be hell scenes that'll pop up too, probably.
This right here?
Like, that's one of the most famous jokes is my amp goes up to 11. It is actually pretty, it's a pretty good little gag.
Go on.
Do you play all, I mean, do you actually play all these, or?
Well, I play them and I cherish them.
Mm-hmm.
This is the top of the heap right here. There's no question about it. Look at the flame on that one.
Yes.
I mean, it's quite unbelievable. This one is just it's perfect. 1959. You know, it just you can listen.
How much is
just
this?
listen for a minute. The sustain. Listen to it.
I'm not hearing anything.
You would though if it were playing because it really. It's famous for its sustain. I mean, you can just hold it.
Well, I mean, so you
can go and have a bite, and you still be hearing that one.
Yeah.
So is this like a fake? So this band is this movie like is
They're
it
not a real band, no.
I know that, but I'm saying like are they also a fake band in the movie, or is this like a?
I think no. I do believe they released a soundtrack as Spinal Tap, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
This one.
I don't know. I don't remember for sure.
This is my radio unit.
Oh,
so
I
I strap this piece on, you know, right down in here when I'm on stage.
So wireless.
Wireless, exactly.
Yeah.
And I can play without all the mat.
You can run anywhere on stage with that.
This is special too. See, look, see, still got the old tagger on it. So you never even played it.
You just bought it.
Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
I wasn't touching it. I was just pointing at it.
Well, don't point even.
Don't even point.
Don't point at it.
It can't be played. Never. I mean,
Can I look at it?
No. You've seen
Don't
enough
look
of that one. This
Don't
is
look
a
at
time
it.
to you know, what we use on stage, but it's very, very special because if you can see, the numbers all go to 11, right across the board. 11, 11,
and most of
11,
the amps go up to 10.
Exactly.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it? It's not 10. You see, most blokes, be playing at 10. You're on 10 here, all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. You're on 10 on your guitar. Where can you go from there? Where?
I don't know.
Nowhere, exactly. What we do is if we need that extra push over the cliff, you know what we do?
Put it up to 11.
11, exactly. One louder.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
Because these go to 11.
And that's like a classic ad that I mean, and that was like a comedy team that got really famous from that movie. That was like one of those relatively independent comedy movies back in the day.
All right. Well, you know, let's put on some AOC stupidity just because we need to have a good laugh. AOC stuns Congress? Huh. 5 minutes corruption game. Wait a minute. What wasn't that one thing? Oh wait, Tim Pool had an entire article where like people were like talking about how nobody likes her. Nobody likes her.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, totally.
Listen, wait. What do you think we should laugh at first? Rudder.
With AOC. Well, you know, I mean, it's like, oh man, I don't know.
Just you know, just reach in there and pick one, right? With her, it's just like a nonstop train of fuck.
What is she saying?
Card,
She
right?
celebrates Amazon. Oh boy. Okay.
Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez cancel. Yep, we're watching this.
I think it's incredible. I mean, it shows that.
Oh my god! Just look at that fucking face. It's just so daft and so. It's like when a kid, you know, like really hears their mom say, you know, oh, that picture is beautiful. They believe it, like they believe that their tree that looks like some kind of penis with a bush at the end of it is the best drawing ever. Look at that face right there.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it at the very beginning. She's basically tries to look and act like a child, like a kid, and that's supposed to disarm people so that they won't attack her ideas.
Well, how could you be so mean, Donovan? Do you not see his innocent face here? What did she ever do to you? How could you do that?
You know, she's playing. It's thoughtnology. You know, she's got the thought power.
The power of the thought who's almost 30. And soon we'll find out that the wall hurts, especially when you hit it head on, right? You know, with no kids and living
but she's don't worry, she's going to she's getting some money. That is if she doesn't go to prison. But she's definitely got some money tucked away someplace.
I know, right? Well, let's just be honest. I stand by my statement. I still think she's infertile. I think she might be sterile. I mean, like she's in her 30s. Well, she's going to be in her 30s. Really, I don't know when. I don't want to look up when she's born because I don't want to give her that validation. But like this, like she was 29 last time I checked, right?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Wait, you know what? Like, I hate to do this, but. Well, so let's see what we got here. So let's see. Partner Riley Roberts, 29 years old, October 13th. So she's got like 9 months before she's 30. She is 29, dude. She is 29. And she like that's the thing. You work around a lot of women, right?
Yeah.
And you mainly serve a lot of women, right?
Yeah.
So would you say they're as delusional as she is when it comes to, you know, their biological clock?
It depends. There's some they'll actually be kind of interesting because there's like kind of a whole way that they behave. And then you realize that they are in a very committed relationship. This is their sort of job while they're in school, and usually after they move on from it, within not that long, they are starting a family with typically the guy who they were seeing when they were, working there. A lot that's happened a number of times, and you could tell who they are almost, almost to a one.
Well, yeah, those are the good girls. Those are the ones you want to have your son married off to, right?
And that's the thing is and then there's the others who they're messing around for quite a number of years, and they kind of land somebody or not by the time they're in their usually early 30s.
They land somebody who actually gives them a kid.
Well, I mean, or not.
Or not.
The boyfriend that that they're they just get older together, have no kids.
It kind of gets good.
You see that a lot. You see that a lot around here.
Oh, a nice, good old apartment full of Cheshire cats.
There's usually a cat or two involved. That's and often a dog, because folks around here are really big on dogs. People love dogs around here.
Yeah, you see that with couples that may never have kids. They always want a dog. They can be like, "Oh, cute puppy." Ew, I don't want a kid. And I don't want something that's all messy and farts and poops everywhere. What do you think a dog is? Right?
I know. Yeah, I a lot of times I kind of think a dog is a great way for two people who are living together to practice how life will be when they have a child.
Yeah. Although there is a funny video I saw where like they say that's what they did, and so it's a skit. And what they do is that they treat the kid literally like a dog. Like when it was on the furniture, like they go like off the furniture, off. I don't know how they did it. They must have used like some kind of doll or something like that. But they hit like the kid off of the furniture with like a newspaper. I mean, clearly that I'm sure they don't actually use a real kid for that scene, but it looks really real. But oh god, let's just hear her spew bullshit like it's going out of style.
Everyday Americans still have the power to organize and fight for their communities, and they can have more say in this country than the richest man in the world.
Oh, look at that fucking shit-eating grin.
Yeah, and that's totally, she had memorized that. She memorized that line. She is extremely pleased with herself. That
did I say
that she delivered that? What? You do know what the it's supposed to say right underneath, right there, like in the thought bubble. Nailed it.
Yeah. No,
that's
in the thought bubble, it said, "I am so smart. I said that exactly how I was told to."
Totally.
This. Oh my god! Look at that. Just that. Oh, that face. Just fuck you. Fuck that face right there, and not in the fun way. Just what kind of emotions do you get when you see that right there? What do you feel?
Oh, my whole thing with stuff like this. Remember, it's like I've got about 15 years on her, so it's like I've kind of seen some shit like this before. Just dressed up in a different outfit, or it might be a dude. It's like everything they just copy these people and copy paste and stuff. So it's like with her, I just like seeing her techniques. How does she use her dark arts and her whimsy and charm and all that, wiles and charm and all that business? It's kind of good to see.
All I see is retard. Like that's all I can see. All I can see is the most. Like, yeah, I get what you're saying. You've been around town before, huh? Big Donovan. I really like the cut of your jib. You got some.
You start seeing like the women who it's like they've been playing up some part of like what they look good. What about them looks really good. And they play it up. and they play it up for years, and there's ways that they will accentuate this or accentuate that, and then they'll have like then some shtick, some type of spiel that they get going, like she just did, and it's you just have to start picking it out. Oh, that's the spiel. Oh, look, you nailed it. Look at the smile. That's the donate money at AOC.com. It's like, if you really want to help, you could give me money. It's like, it's just so.
She actually did ask for that, I think, one time. I think she actually asked for that on a live stream where she was trying to play some game or something.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's great. Oh my God. There we go. It's the Beto and AOC. How real are these cats? By Beto skateboarding and AOC on a game stream. Oh, that's fucking gold. I had no idea. I did not know she was on a game stream.
She should have been, if you guys give me $5, I'll change into my underwear, just to complete the thought triangle, you know what I mean?
Totally, exactly. She's like, I'll show you. If you pay piggies, give me 10. If I start seeing some $10 and $20 donations, I'll show you my feet. It's like the whole deal.
Yeah. Hey, would you like to have this congresswoman in socks? I've been wearing them all day.
I know, totally. Like, yeah, something out of like Japanese fandom.
It's like, oh yes, we want the lactin and wetbags feet. Oh yes, it's a very good U.S. property. We buy $1 million. Yeah. What's up?
Oh no, this is Saku.
Konayo.
What do you say to those that criticize them pulling out that the district now is going to lose 25,000 jobs that could have come there?
Well, one of those things is we were subsidizing those jobs. So for the city was paying for those jobs. So frankly, if we were willing to give Amazon willing to give away $3 billion for this deal, we could invest those $3 billion in.
No, boy, her facade. Did you hear that? Like her stumbling a little bit?
Oh, totally. Oh no, I've seen this I've seen this bit. I saw this clip. It was just fucking cringeworthy.
Oh, just that fucking face. She looks like a lost puppy. Huh? Like look at her eyes. That's just her fucking eyes, and the way her jaw hangs like a fucking Neanderthal.
In our district ourselves, if we wanted to, we could hire out more teachers. We can fix our subways. We can put.
Just how delusional is this woman? Like, I know she's doing talking points. I know she's like, I know they chose a stupid girl to represent, like the whole Justice Democrats thing. But I mean, is this woman really that daft? Like, just how like, Donovan, do you think that if you wanted to, you could just have like a shiny piece of metal out there in the sun and she would start chasing after it?
I mean, my whole thing, I actually had a talk with a Democrat he was quite obviously a fan of hers. And they said, okay, this is the deal with her. I was like, pay attention to how easily she uses 3- and 4-syllable words and how often she uses true economic terminology that you're used to hearing from economists, because that's her claim to fame, is that she has some kind of economic background or something along those lines. And you will notice that not only is her language extremely simple and, 2, maybe 3-syllable words, but also she doesn't use economic language that shows any knowledge of like economics and any particular school of it either, other than kind of loosely being a Marxist.
Do I sound simple? I'm sorry for interrupting. Do I sound simple ever? Like, if you listen to the way my speech patterns, do I sound kind of simple?
No.
Oh shit!
Talking about terminology.
Oh shit! Donovan. Oh god. Why does this always happen? We always have one part of the show where one of us starts cutting out.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yes. Now oh god, it's probably our Wi-Fi. Do you think that's what it is?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm sorry,
can
man.
you hear me?
Yeah. Now apparently Google decided to not be retarded.
Well, I mean, I was saying that when you talk about a specific field of knowledge, you use all the terminology from that field. You will use the terms. Like it actually makes it pretty easy to understand a lot of times.
I do, huh?
Usually, it's like, especially if you really know what specifically about it, you will use typically the correct terms. I've noticed. Like, it seems like there's some stuff that it's just you don't know, like some exacting term that you would maybe even have to take a class to know that, or have had to like finally like look up, like, why does somebody say that word and that's the term for it, and it's like, oh, okay, But I mean, no, you apparently all go for definitive terms so that you know what you're talking about, like, and the other person does too.
Oh yeah, I try to do that a lot, especially when we're talking about like Orthodoxy versus Catholicism, and in how at the end of the day, no matter what, because we're part of the same mother religion, we understand and that we need to protect a community from a universally reviled blasphemy, especially when it comes to pedophiles in the Disney Corporation, and it really when we're talking about that, I feel like sometimes I correct myself too much, and it feels kind of sad. But I do it because I don't want people to all of a sudden be like, well, time to quote mine. How dastardly of us. All right, Muttley, make sure to find all of the things that we can say that make Arceon racist. Something like that. Yeah. It's kind of like the idea that, I know people are going to eventually take me out of context when they start paying attention enough to my channel and start trying to ruin me or something. But I mean, it's kind of like, at least this way, if you see the full context, you can truly understand what I mean. I mean, have you ever had to deal with, the possibility of that with your own work?
I'm not really certain. I'm not sure if I don't know if anybody really cares what. Like, I know there's people who have seen my channel, because somebody actually said, "Hey, I've seen your channel." Like, oh, and like, I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go do laundry." Like, all right. Like, yeah, have a good one. And it was real awkward. It was really a little odd, like, all right. Like, I didn't know what to say. I wasn't prepared for such a moment. But I think nobody really cares enough about what I have to say. But I know people they know that I have like this weird range of knowledge that, like, the joke was, what a guy said was, do you think Donovan somewhere has like a book or like pictures or something about like black Nazis? And my friend goes, I bet he has a picture of one. And I was like, dude, I've got one in my photos on my phone right now. And it was true. I actually did have a photo from that book, or that digital book on the Africans who were living in the Third Reich as students. And when they started conscripting people, because they loved living in Germany, and National Socialism seemed, they were like, well, I mean, if you guys need people to fight and we're living here as your guests, the least we could do is fight for Germany. And because that was when where they came from in Africa was a German colony still. And so they're at black Nazis.
Literal black Nazis. Oh my god.
And it was, yeah.
Hitler.
And so oddly enough, that region if I remember right. Oh, I can't believe I'm forgetting the name. It's where that giant like genocide happened, where there was all these guys on the radio who were getting people all fired up to kill the other type of people. Yeah, but now I'm forgetting. But that's where that happened.
Liberia?
No, I think it was in.
Wait. Rwanda?
There we go.
Yeah. Wait, was it German? I thought it was Dutch. Or Belgium.
I believe it fell into a German holding because there's pictures of an African colony that has a swastika made out of reeds up on the wall in a German school.
Oh.
And that was one of the pictures from the Black Nazis, the pictures that I found.
Well, you might be interesting. Have you ever heard of Colonia Dignidad?
No.
Oh, it was apparently an Argentinian school ruled by controlled out in I think it was Argentina, either that or Chile or Peru, one of those. It was a South American area. I don't remember the exact one, but anyway, it was a camp run by a Nazi pedophile. It was in South America, and it was like to get away from all things that the Nazis at the time thought were unclean, while trying to avoid becoming captured by Allied forces after they had already won World War II. And like tons of children tons of young boys, all the way as young as 4, were repeatedly raped by this guy. And even and it's now a place where people can go and see what happened. And worst of all, there's still a bunch of white people, like pale white people there, who still believe in the Third Reich and believe that everyone they're surrounded by are pigs. You never heard of that?
Yeah. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. For a second, it cut out. Yeah, I've heard about that with the German thing, and especially once that was one of the big red pills that I got, was the Alex Jones interview about America's Nazi secrets, and that finally explained all the links that people on the left had put together. That there's rumors of the boys from Brazil, the Argentinian Nazis, Chilean things along those lines, but really it was Argentina was the place that they really that seemed like no, there's really something going on there. But that all was kind of, you would hear that from people who are on the left, and this is when the left was still like cuckoo, and only in like Berkeley, and but they would say like, no, there's really, this is some, and they would have all these names. They would, like Alex Jones, they would throw all these words at you, and you're like, what is this guy talking about? But once Alex Jones got that interview with John Loftus could publish all the declassified stuff about the German Nazis and Ukrainian Nazis and Belarusian Nazis that were pulled over here. That's a lot of them got settled down there. A lot of it started to make much more sense. The School of the Americas started making sense. The connection.
How was that?
Oh, the School of the Americas was a big deal in the 80s and 90s. People protest against it. It was the torture school.
A torture school?
It was the American Torture School, and it was at a specific army base. Fort, I forget what fort it was at, and people would go there all the time to protest it, and made a big fuss about it. I think it finally got renamed in some other way around when the war on terror started.
You said School of America, right? Here?
Oh, there we go. Yep, sure. There we go. Dictators and Death Squads. See, even Susan and Sarandon. See, once the left was, they were getting hip to the game.
In the late afternoon of December 4th, 1980, an unmarked grave was found in a field in El Salvador. When it was opened in the presence of the U.S. ambassador, it revealed the bodies of 4 women. Mary Knoll's sisters Maura Clark and Edith Ford, Ursuline's sister Dorothy Kazel, and lay missionary Jean Donovan. Of the 5 officers later found responsible for the rape and murder of these women, 3 were graduates of the United States Army School of the Americas. The School of the Americas originated in 1946 in Panama. Now it is located on the grounds of Fort Benning, Georgia. The school teaches commando operations, sniper training, how to fire an M16, and psychological warfare. Since no major declared war between Latin American countries has occurred in decades, and the communist threat has vanished, why provide this kind of training? Representative Joseph Kennedy.
If you look at the course ranges that are offered to these individuals, they in fact are a dedicated way of teaching military leaders in foreign nations how to subvert their local communities.
Since it opened, over 55,000 military officials from 23 Latin American and Caribbean countries have trained at the school. About 2,000 students a year. As facts have emerged about the school and its graduates, it has drawn the attention of a growing number of human rights activists, such as Mary Knoll father Roy Bourgeois.
Just down the road here is the School of the Americas. It's a combat school. Most of the courses revolve around what they call counterinsurgency warfare. Who are the insurgents? We have to ask that question. They are the poor. They are the people in Latin America who call for reform. They are the landless peasants who are hungry. They are health care.
So know what you're seeing right there.
Labor organizers. They become the
Are those kind of like communists that in Latin America?
And that's one of the that movement of priests that is that was big into sort of trying to merge Catholicism and socialism.
So wait a minute. So this
now, he might have totally believed it. He probably totally believed that he was on the right side, standing up for union rights, things like that. But I guarantee you that it was also linked to socialists who were receiving aid from, at the time, the USSR and or Cuba.
Oh, wow. So there was a huge movement of priests who were like communists?
Oh, yeah. That's a big part of why there's so many gay priests as well.
Gay priests? What the fuck?
Oh, yeah. Like the New York, there's actually a story that a church militant did about how the New York Archdiocese is trying to suppress the information about the money they're going to get crushed by the hospital care for all of the priests that have AIDS.
What the fuck?
And are going to be on AIDS drugs for like the rest of their lives when they retire.
Personally, I think that you shouldn't allow homosexual priests because when you think about it, one of the reasons why priests molest children is because it's easy. So imagine all of a sudden if you have a gay priest who's never allowed to have sex ever. You know, that could go wrong pretty fast. Like, you know, that's just disturbing, man. That's just so wait. So are they both, would you call them both bad people?
No.
The school and the priest?
That was no. So that was maybe if you were to look up church militant gay priests. I don't. It was a specific interview he did with. But church. Have you ever heard of church militant?
No, I haven't.
Oh shoot! You might dig this guy. He's a hardcore Catholic, who was living the wild life and realized that he really wanted to like he basically had a moment and God came to him, and he in returning back to the church, he just there we go. It's probably, let's see. Oh yeah, I forgot about half. That one, half of the priests and bishops are gay.
Right here, Vortex, Catholic, and gay.
Well, no, but look at them. Look at all the titles. The gay priest problem, then the half priests and bishops are gay. Let's see what's it looks like the most recent one was
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. Father James Martin is not going to like this one. Men who see themselves as gay should not be ordained, period. Why? Because homosexuality is a psychological disorder which can too often end up damaging the lives and souls of not only those afflicted, as nearly all afflictions can, but in particular, the damaging effects of homosexuality can be transferred to the sheep who entrust themselves to the spiritual care of such men. And as an aside, just because the American Psychological Association was politically bullied in 1975 to declare homosexuality normal does not make it so. It's not. It is always the result of a deep wound, almost always not the fault of the person, but
usually, like with Milo, remember that?
He actually interviewed Milo.
And what did they come to? What kind of conclusion did they come to?
You got to watch it. I can't put it as well. You got to see it was a good focus on his body, on his face. You could see the conflict. You could see it all, like that he's just so lost. He's still trying to figure out what to do, and he it's that thing. Well, does God have the power to forgive me? And that's a hard that alone.
And can I change?
And can I? Yeah, there you go. And can I change? And that was his thing. You could just see it. It's still so wrapped around him.
I think we should definitely mention this. Vatican II was probably one of the worst things that happened in the church ever. Because a lot of what's up?
Yeah, I've got to agree with you.
I mean, so a lot of the flimsy, no more standards bullshit that we see nowadays with the Catholic Church happened after Vatican II. Like, there are plenty of priests out there who openly despise Vatican II. Like, what was his name? Bishop Robert Barron or something like that? Bishop Barron?
Oh, that's funny. He interviews him too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I subscribe to the guy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. But I mean, like, Barron hates Vatican II because he said that's when we really stops really seeing God as an almighty creature that we should obey and know his laws, and rather it's just merely a suggestion. Don?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, his now to suffer with. It is a cancer of the mind and self-image. The man who sees himself through the lens of being sexually attracted to other men can never be psychologically healthy enough to minister in the priesthood. And this is true even if the man remains completely chaste. The issue here is not one of chastity, but one of psychological fitness. The priesthood is a place where healthy men who are well grounded in their identity as a man can put themselves on the line for the good of their sheep. The reason psychological health is so necessary in this regard is because this is the precise aspect of the soul of the priest which enables him to move beyond himself for the sake of the other, a true altruism. A man who is wounded psychologically cannot behave in this manner because he is too concerned with addressing his inner pain, consciously or unconsciously. Gay priests are just not capable of giving themselves totally to the sheep. In truth, most men are not really capable of that, which is why most men cannot and should not be priests. It's also one of the reasons we see such failure of fatherhood and husbandry in the society at large these days, because most men have had their masculinity stripped or watered down, taken away from them through broken families or the media glorification of everything bad in masculinity and 100 other causes. No man who sees himself in any distorted way should be ordained, or even
I'm sure this guy is reading off a teleprompter, but holy shit, he's good.
Oh yeah, he was actually an actor. That's why he when he realized what really was going on, he had to leave.
Oh, you mean with like all the rapes?
And whatever it was, whatever he experienced, I don't know that specifically, but yeah, but he was I think a trained actor.
So that's why he's so good at this. Reagan was the same way. You know, he was also an actor.
Oh, totally. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Admitted to the seminary. But a flood of psychologically wounded men, wounded by their homosexuality, have been allowed into seminaries and been ordained, and a large percentage of U.S. bishops are included among them. These men, owing explicitly to their pain from this psychological illness, seek each other out, a misery loves company kind of mindset. They form cliques, they associate with one another, they embolden one another. In some cases, they rationalize sin for one another. And their priesthood becomes a gay-centric priesthood, not really about the people as much as it is about themselves. They become the center of parish life. Masses become about them. Their homilies are personal little stories meant to elicit warm and fuzzies from the pew sitters. The church itself becomes not a door to salvation, the gate of heaven, but a large treatment center for their illness. The gay man is terrified of rejection on a foundational psychological level, and owing to this, will not preach the hard truths of the faith, because when the inevitable blowback comes, he takes it personally. In fact, everything about his life is inward turned. It's all personal for him, so deep is the wound. Many of these men go on personal crusades to get the parish to accept them. It becomes the focus of their entire priesthood. And when they rise up the ranks, they bring in others who see the world through the same lens. Those men get promoted to vocation directors, rectors of seminaries, and so forth. And it doesn't take long to see how seminaries could easily become ticking time bombs, where homosexual men in power, unstable in their own psychologies, begin lusting after seminarians subordinate to them. Effeminate men are welcomed into these environments, not because they have a genuine call to serve at the altar, but because they represent a steady supply of fresh meat. Men who have a genuine calling are screened out, precisely because they are psychologically healthy and offer very little chance of ever succumbing. This is the world the seminaries in the U.S. and other countries have operated within for decades. Why are so many priests swishy or light in the loafers? Because bishops, who are the same, and vocations directors and other directors and so forth are homosexual themselves and have made it a point to turn the priesthood into a gay profession. James Martin himself even recently said there are thousands of homosexual men in the priesthood in the United States, and the priesthood would essentially collapse if every priest who was gay got tossed out. Regardless of what pro-gay Cardinal Supich says, all of this crisis in the priesthood is exactly a gay thing.
Hey, by the way, I'm getting really tired, so I think I'm going to turn it off, okay?
All right. Yeah, I'm conking out, actually. I'm starting to have trouble kind of keeping awake.
All right. Hey, it's good to talk to you, man. Hey, make sure to send me your address again on Twitter, okay?
Okay, we'll do.
Okay. Bye.
All right, have a good night.
Oh, wait. Before you go?
Oh, yeah.
Make sure to sign the petition, too.
All right, we'll do.
All right. Bye.
Night.